Hello and welcome. This is 𝐀𝐥𝐞𝐱 from Shanghai Silk Road. In this video, I'd like to talk about post-company registration in China. Actually, this area is not, widely spoken. If you watch the videos on YouTube or if you search online, there's really not much information available. So that's the reason why probably we receive a lot of questions. And especially when people come across with problems linked to these things that I'm about to talk, which are very important after you register your company. So, as a foreign entrepreneur, when you register a company, an LTD company, or in other words, wholly foreign-owned enterprise, there are certain things that you have to really pay attention to. So what are they? Number one is obviously, when you're a foreign entrepreneur in China, you need to keep your company active all the time, especially so when your visa is attached to your company, meaning that your company, your own company, is sponsoring your work visa. So in this case, you have to try actually your best to keep your company active, do your business, whatever your company is in. So for example, if it's in trading, make sure you trade, okay, or make sure the company is trading, okay, even if you're not involved in the day-to-day activities of the company. Otherwise, when it's time to extend your visa, when you go to the immigration office, they might not, extend your visa simply because your company has become dormant or is not operating or is not even generating enough, income to pay your salary, especially when it's really important when you are, with a family. They sometimes immigration officers they tend to calculate the average costs of living in the place of registration. For example, if it's in Shanghai, they will obviously calculate, not all the time, but it's certainly a usual thing, because when you go to the visa interview, they normally ask some general questions and then look at the company's financials, basically bank statements, your invoices, etc., etc., and obviously look at your salary. Right. So, for example, if it's in Shanghai, average salary for foreign employees in Shanghai is around 10,000 yuan. All right. If it's less than that, you can obviously explain. Okay. You can, if your company is, paying for, some parts of your lifestyle, for example, accommodation, your kids' education, etc. So you can tell that. You can tell that I'm receiving, for example, 5,000 yuan salary. Rest is paid by my company. That's why my salary is low. But in the worst case scenario, if your company is not able to pay yourself a salary, then, like I said, it's going to, it might actually cause an issue with your visa's extension. So that's why the point is, keep your company active, make sure it's generating enough, considering the average cost of living in the city of registration, basically, in the place of registration in China. I hear sometimes, people telling me that, I know somebody in China and he's got some connection in the visa office maybe, or he's got some connections in the government, and he says that maybe we can just open a company just for visa and then we don't really have to run the company, and he will be helping me with visa extensions, etc. And now this is a really dangerous activity or situation to get involved to in any country, not only in China. It might be true to some extent, because we cannot ignore the fact that there are different situations in life, right? There are people who are really corrupt in every country, in every society. So I'm not saying that it's not possible, okay? But my job is to tell to our clients all the time is that these kind of things are, like I said, dangerous, and these are illegal. Okay, even if you use the help of some agency, some dodgy agency, that registered the company, and then they keep helping with the extension of your visa through their connections. It is a matter of when, okay, they are caught, and then your company is blacklisted, and yourself, your name is blacklisted as well. So it's a matter of when, and you're just playing with the fire there. So I really don't recommend getting involved in any such illegal activities. All right. So now, number two is send your bank statements to your accountant every month. Okay, the way you do it is basically you don't have to really print them nowadays in China. You just use your online banking. When you use your online banking, there's a special function. You just click on that and it generates a PDF bank statement. Download it, send it to your accountant. And next, number three, send your international invoices. Because in China, if you don't know, local invoices are printed using a special machine and special blanks, okay, blanks taken from the tax office. So those are called FAPIAOS in China. And if you translate it from Chinese to English, it means basically an invoice. So this is a local invoice. You don't have to worry about them. When there's a transaction, you just tell your accountant to print an invoice. Okay, if you are the supplier, give that invoice FAPIAO to your client basically, and your accountant should be able to print it and send it to your client. So that's, you don't have to really think about it, because when they print it, they will keep it with your files. But this number three is, I'm talking about the international invoice. Imagine that your company is in trading and you have some clients outside of China. So when there's a transaction and you are the supplier of the service or the goods, then in this case, your company needs to issue an invoice. It's going to be in any language, but make sure you include Chinese as well, okay, if it's not in English. So, or if it's in English and Chinese, that's preferable, because in China, Chinese language always in legal matters prevails, but you can include English as a second language as well, all right? So that invoices and contracts as well should be sent to your accountant, okay, every time you make some transaction. It will be necessary for monthly filings. Now, bank statements also, like number two I mentioned. Why do you send them? Because these are necessary for monthly filings, okay, tax filings. Number four, send a copy of your contracts, like I mentioned. And like, or at least speak to your accountant. Contracts are not always needed, but, sometimes they will be needed to clarify certain, bookkeeping questions, transactions, basically. So in our case, our accountant does not really ask all the time, but certainly, we make sure we share the copy of the contract with the accountant just in case, So we always recommend our clients do the same. Now, next, make sure, this is number five, make sure you perform this corporate bank account reconciliation. All right, how you do it? If your company is registered through us, you can get in touch with us. I will be happy to send you a PDF file which illustrates all the steps. But generally speaking, reconciliation it can be done using your online banking. Just go to your online banking. There's a special section again. If it's in Chinese, I'm afraid you need to translate using, I don't know, different translation software. But major banks in China, most of them, they have English online banking, and you can see that area reconciliation. Click on that and perform that every month, right? Very important. Number six, send your expense receipts and obviously FAPIAOS to your accountant. For example, you using your company, like I mentioned earlier, using your company's account to cover some of your expenses as a director of the company, or or some other executive of your company. you are covering some of your expenses using your company's account. For example, your travel expenses, your like transportation maybe, or kids education, your hospital, or your business meetings, business lunch, dinner, etc., etc. So every time you use your company's card, make sure you ask for a receipt, and also a very important FAPIAO, like I said, an invoice in Chinese. So ask the restaurant to print it on your company's name. All right, not just the general FAPIAO that they, give to everyone. It doesn't work. Okay, you need to make sure that that's printed on your company's name. It's possible. Okay, and when you stay at a hotel, again, I'm sure that you can speak to the receptionist and they will order FAPIAO for you. Okay, from their accountant, and you can just give them your company's details, and it can be done. So like I said, every time you use your company's card, make sure you collect FAPIAO and receipt. Regarding receipts actually are not as strong as FAPIAOs, the invoices, because receipts, they are used to clarify some of the transactions, some of the questions. All right, so receipts cannot be used to justify the expenses actually in China, but FAPIAOs, invoices can. So that's why make sure you collect FAPIAOs. Number 7, send your wage sheets. For example, every month you're paying yourself a salary, and before you actually pay, make sure you contact the accountant and tell them how much you will be paying yourself, for example, next month. All right, our accountant, they ask you these questions before the month starts actually, so that they are taking the initiative to avoid any mistakes. So if you're paying 10,000 yuan or 20,000 yuan, make sure you stick to that amount. If you exceed, then it's going to be overdraw. So basically that's not allowed, okay, technically speaking. If there is some issue like that, make sure you speak to the accountant and ask for their help to justify that expense. Next, and the last one is actually make sure you keep your own bookkeeping. Because most of the time people are not experienced enough. They forget actually to keep record of all the transactions with their company, and that might potentially create some misunderstanding with your accountant or in your business basically. So that's why I always recommend get a big, like a thick bookkeeping book, and record all the transactions, okay, with the date, the debit credit in place. Put the company name, supplier's name, client's name, everything, all the details, so that there are no mistakes. Okay, so every time, if in the future your accountant asks any questions, it will be very easy for you to clarify. Also, you can carry that book to your visa extensions, okay, to give some idea to the visa officer. That's pretty much it about post company registration in China. Basically, all this process, all this elements here we've just talked about, they are true for all the types of companies, generally speaking, because you can register a branch office here, you can register a representative office, or you can just start a joint venture or partnership. All these things are true for all these types of companies. Foreigners can register. If you have any questions or need some clarification maybe regarding these points I just explained, feel free to leave in the comment section below or send us an email. We will be glad to talk about them and assist you, obviously. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.